What is a compensating control? Let's talk about it. It's a term you should know, and let's see how it plays a role. Now, sometimes a small department has a limited number of employees, but we talked about how there's a cost benefit analysis within a company, and maybe it just doesn't, maybe you can't afford to pay someone to do a certain check. We've got a small department, limited number of employees, making it difficult or impossible to establish adequate segregation of duties. If this is the case, the unit needs to establish compensating controls, right? It compensates for that small department. It compensates for the fact that there's no separation of duties. Controls designed to compensate for the increased risk as a result of the situation. Now, compensating controls are typically less desirable than separation of duties because this is the king. This is the big control. The only thing that beats this is collusion, because compensating controls typically occur after the transaction is complete. It's not preventative. It's possibly detective. In addition, it takes more resources to investigate, correct errors, and or recover losses. So prevention is the best. I mean, just like with your health, right? Think about it. Yeah, hey, I'm not the best, but taking care of your health ahead of time is better than trying to correct any issues you have with your health after something happens. If you just eat terribly for multiple years and you have some issue because of that, it's a lot better to just take the initiative and prevent. And I use that example because it's absolutely the same when it comes to internal controls. When it comes to this concept of preventing, detecting, and correcting misstatements and issues, and we see this in other exams as well. Prevention is the cheapest. It's the best form because you don't have to then go and investigate and see what happened and see if that issue is pervasive in other areas and investigate that further. And then obviously you didn't have the initial loss, or you prevented the loss before it happened. Therefore, compensating controls should be viewed as a last resort and should not take the place of separation of duties when staffing exists to make the separation possible. If you have to rely on it, you can, but ideally you don't want to have to do it. We've got an example of when a compensating control would be required. Let's say a single employee has the duties of accepting cash payments, which we see. Think about it for a second. What is this? This is custody. Recording the deposit, that is going to be record keeping, and then reconciling the monthly financial reports. We could say that's record keeping / authorization as well. To prevent errors and or fraud, additional oversight is going to be required because we have a breach of segregation duties. This means we need a compensating control, such as the leader performing a review of the reconciliation. So even though this person is doing multiple actions, we can have someone go in and review the reconciliation. Now, this is a compensating control because this person could go commit fraud, and then this manager or leader goes in to review it, and then they find the fraud. Now, it would have been better to just prevent the ability for fraud to happen in the first place, but this is better than nothing, right? They're going to review the reconciliation or another unit performing the reconciliation. In some cases, two small units have swapped reconciliation duties to provide the needed separation of duties that are not possible within the unit. That's just something that we can see here, right? Units, departments, whatever you want to refer to them as. So swapping around responsibilities. It's kind of like if any of you did this in school. Gosh, I can't remember if it was like middle school or high school, but teacher's like, hey, I don't feel like grading today, so pass your paper over to someone, they'll grade yours and you grade theirs. No, that's not really the best approach either, because you pass it to your friend and they just give you 100 on it, right? But it's in essence better than nothing. That's the essence of these compensating controls. Let's talk about the application of these controls. Now, like we said, they're a last resort, but what happens if you do have to apply them? Now, when performing substantive procedures, also known as tests of details, or tests of the operating effectiveness of controls, the auditor may obtain evidence that a control does not operate effectively. So, for example, by identifying a misstatement that was not prevented or detected and corrected by the control, see an issue and it just went right past the control. Now, management may inform the auditor, or the auditor may otherwise become aware of the existence of compensating controls that, if effective, may limit the severity of the deficiency and prevent it from being a significant deficiency or material weakness. Getting the jump on that. In these circumstances, although the auditor is not required to consider the effects of compensating controls, the auditor may consider the effects of the compensating controls. It's just you're not required to do it, but there are things that you just probably should do related to a deficiency in operation, provided the auditor has tested the compensating controls for operating effectiveness as part of the financial statement audit. Now, as we mentioned, compensating controls can limit the severity of a deficiency, but do not eliminate the deficiency. They don't eliminate the risk. They're not the best option. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.